All over the world, a silent revolution is underway. Countries and states are gradually opening their doors to the legalization of marijuana, as if simply correcting a mistake from the past. But behind this wave of change lies a fundamental question, too often ignored. Are we really sure that legalizing marijuana is the wisest choice? Public debate, especially online, tends to oversimplify the issue. The benefits are praised, the dangers downplayed. But the reality, as is often the case, is far more complex. And to understand it, we need to look deeper. One of the least discussed aspects concerns the transformation of marijuana itself. It's no longer the same substance as decades ago. Over the past 30 years, cannabis has been engineered to be more potent, more effective, and potentially more dangerous. THC, the molecule responsible for marijuana's psychoactive effects, has undergone a remarkable escalation. In the 2000s, THC levels averaged around 5%. By 2018, tests reported an average of nearly 14%. Today, many products reach even higher percentages. But there's another crucial detail. CBD, a compound believed to balance THC's effects and possibly have therapeutic value for anxiety and psychosis, has been almost eliminated. Why? Because it doesn't get you high. And for producers, that's not profitable. This imbalance between THC and CBD has changed the nature of marijuana. What was once considered a soft drug can now have much deeper effects on the brain, to the point that several studies link frequent use of high THC marijuana to the development of psychosis. But how real is this risk? Some UK studies observed that despite rising cannabis use between 1998 and 2005, schizophrenia cases remained stable. This might seem to downplay the alarm. However, the truth lies in the details. Marijuana appears to accelerate the onset of psychosis in those already predisposed. It's not the direct cause, but it can ignite a latent condition. If you've made it this far, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest content. Paradoxically, the fact that marijuana is illegal might have made the situation worse. When a substance is banned, the black market drives production of more concentrated and easily transported versions. It's the same phenomenon that occurred during Prohibition in the US. Beer disappeared, giving way to high-proof whiskey and spirits. Today, something similar is happening. Users often have access only to strong versions of marijuana, often more than they'd prefer. And so, criminalization, which was meant to protect them, ends up putting them more at risk. In a legal, regulated market, governments could impose limits on THC potency, promote CBD-rich strains, and offer lighter alternatives, comparable to beer rather than vodka. We may not eliminate risks, but we could make them far more manageable. Another major concern is the idea that legalizing marijuana opens the door to more dangerous drugs. The gateway drug theory is deeply rooted in popular culture. It all starts with a joint, and before you know it, you're hooked on heroin. But what does science really say? A 2015 study found that 45% of regular marijuana users had tried at least one other illegal drug. But correlation doesn't always mean causation. More recent studies suggest the real gateway is not marijuana, but tobacco. Teens who start smoking cigarettes before age 15 have an 80% higher risk of moving on to illegal drugs. Specifically, young smokers aged 12 to 17 are 3 times more likely to abuse alcohol and up to 7 times more likely to use cocaine, heroin, and marijuana. The uncomfortable truth is that addiction stems from causes much deeper than mere access to a substance. Family instability, trauma, depression, and loneliness are often what drive people toward problematic drug use. Drugs aren't the cause. They're the refuge. And when the state responds only with punishment, the root of the problem remains untouched. In 2001, Portugal was overwhelmed by a drug crisis. In response, the government took an unprecedented step. It decriminalized the use and possession of all drugs. Those caught with small amounts were no longer jailed. Instead, they were referred to help centers, therapy, and harm reduction programs. The results were remarkable. Habitual drug use dropped from 44% to 28% in just a few years. HIV infections and overdoses plummeted. The healthcare system, not the justice system, became the primary response tool. If we treat addiction as an illness and not a crime, we can truly begin to save lives. So why not apply the same approach to marijuana? Another frequently mentioned argument is that marijuana is addictive and harms health. And it's true. The risk of addiction is real. About 10% of those who try it become dependent, and that percentage rises with THC potency. A Dutch study found that for every 1% increase in THC, 60 more people enter treatment for cannabis addiction. From a physical health perspective, the data is more nuanced. Some studies suggest links between cannabis use and high blood pressure, lung issues, or gum disease. Others find no significant correlation, especially when accounting for variables like alcohol or tobacco. What is certain, though, is that any psychoactive substance interferes more heavily with a developing brain. Young people are more vulnerable. And keeping marijuana illegal does not protect them. In fact, it often increases their exposure. An illegal dealer will never ask an adolescent for ID. A licensed store, on the other hand, risks heavy fines or closure if it sells to minors. And this is the heart of the matter. Legalizing a substance doesn't mean endorsing its use. It means managing it. It means having the tools to regulate, prevent, and educate. Think of alcohol and tobacco. No one considers them harmless, yet they're legal. Why? Because we can tax them, control their sale, limit their advertising, and fund prevention campaigns. And most importantly, we can conduct research. As long as marijuana remains illegal, securing funding to study its effects remains extremely difficult. Legalization could finally open the door to serious, large-scale studies that tell us who is most at risk, how, and why. In the end, marijuana is a drug. It's not harmless, but no drug is, not even legal ones. The goal isn't to eliminate every risk, but to reduce it. Not to pretend the problem doesn't exist, but to find the most humane, intelligent, and responsible way to deal with it. And perhaps, as counterintuitive as it may seem, legalization is the best way to protect society from itself. If you found this video thought-provoking, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support helps us keep creating content that matters.